For the big issues, a lot to talk about. Just before the break, we brought you an update on that story that has dominated the headlines in the last couple of days. And for those who may have missed that news that just came in, the news says that we understand national security operatives have arrested Alfred Kumi Ababio. Alfred Kumi Ababio is the gentleman at the center of the controversy regarding allegations that some of the judges who are handling the petition seeking the removal of the Chief Justice met one of the lawyers for the petitioners at a restaurant, and he suggests that discussions that took place related to the petition itself. And two of the videos have gone viral. We cannot confirm who made those videos public, but those videos have gone viral. In that video, it's on your screen right now. And so the circled images are three individuals who are believed to be judges of Ghana's Supreme Court. And then the story that has been put out there suggests that they're having an interaction with a lawyer who is in the matter as well, representing one of the petitioners. And so that is it by way of the news that has just come in. And we are being told that Alfred Kumi Ababio, who petitioned the presidency, asking that the president investigates this particular matter, has been picked up this morning by national security operatives. We have spoken to his lawyers. They have confirmed to us that, yes, he had been picked up. They said early in the morning, they got a phone call from him indicating that they wanted, some men had come over to his residence claiming that they were from the National Intelligence Bureau, and others also saying that they are national security operatives and that they had come to pick him up there. And this is the video that we have all seen. I mean, it's been making rounds on social media for a while now. So the three, the circled individuals are those who have been identified as judges of Ghana's Supreme Court, and the two others, one is a lawyer, the other is said to be a businessman, and this has been put out there in the public domain already. Those who are making the point that, well, this video does not reveal much, does not form the basis or lead to any conclusion with regards to the allegations that have been made. There are those who say that, well, it confirms that some meeting took place of sorts. All those are matters that have been put out in the public domain since the news came out, and all these are matters that we'll be discussing this morning on the big issue. And joining me in the studio for the discussion is the regular Friday team minus one person. You identify that person shortly, but Ebo Bachman takes the seat across me. Ebo, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
You are champions of Spain, eh?
Of course, you know that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we couldn't make it to the Champions League final, but I mean the boys have proven to be the best team so far.
I see. Ebo supports the second best team on earth, that is Barcelona. I always tell you that the best team on earth is Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Number 2 is Barcelona. Ebo is a senior communicator with the movement of change. He's also a financial and economic analyst as well. Next to Ebo is senior Kwame Jantua. He is with the Convention People's Party. He's a legal practitioner. He's an energy analyst as well. Council, welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a small something I want to say. We welcome back the Vice President.
Yeah.
From a medical situation. But you know something? I listened to the welcome that was given her. I listened to what she said. I listened to what the President said. For me, what was missing in the whole array of the welcoming her was the fact that none of our executives indicated that we have to be able to improve our health system in Ghana.
I think there's a part where I heard the President make that point about UGMC.
Not only UGMC.
Yeah, he complained about UGMC.
It's not only UGMC. I don't know what ailment the Vice President had, but if you had that ailment, would you have the chance to go to London? Would you have the chance to go to America? Would you have the chance to go to Germany? Would you have the chance to have foreign medical help? We are all Ghanaians. We are all equal. We have put the people who rule this country there. So I thought a statement would be made that we've got to be able to improve our health system in Ghana, because it's not everybody we can take abroad. That was missing.
Okay.
And I would appeal to the president, I would appeal to the vice president, that use this as a trigger point to get our health system back on track. Because there are people who have the ailment the vice president had and do not have the opportunity to be able to get the kind of care that the vice president got.
I see. Also joining us this morning, as usual, Prof. Enokopoko Entry, is a governance and policy analyst. Prof, it's good to see you once again.
It's always a pleasure to be here. Okay. I want to encourage Ghanaians. I know the youth are doing whatever they can to survive. Some are selling all sort of things at the roadside. And I want to encourage them and say that Nyame say Oma wonidi and Oma de enchon. So God will be with all of them. And I also urge the government to do whatever it takes.
You've got to translate what you said in Tree so that people understand it.
You understand it.
But others might not understand it.
Okay. If God would not let you leave, he wouldn't have made you rise up this morning. And he moves in mysterious ways. So I know God is going to take care of everybody, but work hard. I like the Japanese rather, they call something shikutu dake. What that means is that we are created to work and work alone until we return back to our creator. So there's dignity in work. Do any decent job. I've seen violence in our secondary schools, students taking guns and all those things. I urge our teachers and authorities to also watch that, because the kids are in your hands in the schools, and we all need to team up. Parenting is also very key now. We all need to team up and raise our kids, because they are the future of this country.
I mean, what you were saying about the birds reminded me of a scripture, Matthew 6:26-27, where Jesus says, "Look at the birds of the air, for they neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns. Yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they?" So that is the word of the Lord this morning. Also joining us for the first time, Austin Kwabna Brako Powers. He is joining via Zoom. Powers, good morning, if you can hear me.
Yeah, good morning. And one good morning to your studio panelists.
My viewers would want to see you, so at some point you'd have to activate your cameras for us to see you. Austin,
exactly.
Austin Powers is a legal practitioner. He's joining us this morning as well. So I want us to start the conversation. I'm starting from the studio, and I will start first off with Ebo. I mean, the latest that has come in is that the police, or national security operatives, I must say national security operatives, have picked up the gentleman who made the allegations. And we have to put everything that is happening in a certain perspective to enable our viewers follow the story very closely. Now, the gentleman writes a petition to the presidency saying that some judges, and that is the gentleman on your screen, Alfred Kumi Ababio, he writes a petition to the presidency saying that he has information. He says some of the judges who are involved in the petitions hearing and one other judge of the Supreme Court who also heard the case related to the injunction against the removal process had a meeting at a restaurant, and he suggests that they had discussions about the removal issues, and that discussion or that engagement or that meeting included the participation of a lawyer in the matter. And so that is the information that he put out there. Now, shortly after that, there was an application that was filed by lawyers for the Chief Justice, the suspended Chief Justice, Her Ladyship Gertrude Tokonu, asking for two of the judges to be restrained from participating in the petition removal process. And it's important to note that in the application they made, it's not about the issues surrounding the meeting. Her issues are very different from what is being put out in the public domain about that. If you pick the chairperson of the committee, Justice Court, Gabriel Palmer, the concern she raises has to do with the fact that he participated in the cases involving Daniel Ofori. Daniel Ofori is one of the petitioners in this particular matter, and he participated in those cases and ruled on the side of Daniel Ofori. And so the allegation is that if that formed the base of the petition for the Chief Justice to have to respond to it after a prima facie determination, then he also should not be participating in that particular process. With regards to Justice Kwame Adibwe-Siedu, the issue with him has to do with the fact that he was originally part of the panel that were to hear the petition. And the Chief Justice lawyers and the Chief Justice take the view that by virtue of he being on the panel, he cannot participate in the removal processes. They again make the point about oath that was supposed to be sworn by the members of the committee. They suggest that that was not done as well. And so that is what forms the base of the Chief Justice matter. Now, shortly after the Chief Justice lawyers had filed that process, then the two videos went viral, and we've been rolling over those videos. And in that video, we see an individual that many believe to be Justice Yoni Kulendi, a justice of the Supreme Court. We also see another individual that many have identified to be Justice Samuel Kwame Adibwe-Siedu, also of the Supreme Court. The other individual, there's a bit of controversy surrounding it. Some say it's also Justice Anthony Kofi. And what we know is that it's not Justice Gabriel Scott Pomai who is in that particular video. Then beyond that, we see two individuals, one identified as Thaddeus Sorry, who is a lawyer for one of the petitioners in this particular process as well. And so after the CJ's lawyer filed the process, this video now goes viral on social media. Then the latest this morning we are waking up to is that Alfred Kumi has been arrested by the National Security Operatives. And already we've seen some tweets that have made rounds on social media. I have spoken to his lawyers. They have confirmed that he's been picked up. But this is another tweet that has gone up by a legal practitioner. He's also a member of parliament as well. He says about 3 hours ago, Alfred Ababio Kumi, popularly known as Adenta Kumi, was picked up at his residence by 8 armed men believed to be officers of the National Intelligence Bureau. 6 of the AK-47 wielding men were in masks. These Rambo-style actions by government continue to raise concerns that border on free speech and good governance. And so that is it by way of where we have come from on this particular story and where we are now. And I thought it was important to put it in perspective so that we understand the issues at play. And let me come to Ebo right at this moment now. And Ebo, the latest on the issue, the arrest, does it come to you as a surprise or is one that you could see coming? The gentleman a few days ago had actually tweeted that they were coming for him. I don't know how he got wind of that, but this is where we are now.
Let me say good morning to my colleagues here. Good morning to your good self and your crew here. It is even difficult to know where to start from when it comes to this issue. But let it be said that, I mean, so far, I believe that if you trace this issue way back to where it started, I mean, the president, the fact that the president was petitioned and the president has done what the Constitution requires of him, so far he's played his role within the confines of the Constitution. He's not done anything in breach of the Constitution. So let that statement be made that the president has so far comported himself within the bounds of the Constitution. And also, let it be said that the Chief Justice also has the right to do whatever she's doing. But you see, before I come to Adenta Kumi's issue, let me make this point that you see, the Chief Justice has taken some actions lately, and two of these actions for me appears to have overstretched the issue to its inelastic limit. Which issues am I talking about? The fact that she filed her injunction closely on the heels of this frivolous petition by Adenta Kumi, and also by engaging the former Attorney General as a counsel. I mean, for me, these two actions, have really turned this constitutional process into, if you like, a politically charged spectacle. Now the issue is moving from the legal realms into political realms.
How do you respond to those who disagree and also point to the lawyers on the other side? They will say that, well, the other side, there's Chachu Chikata, there's also Thaddeus. Sorry, and just by way of information as well, the Chief Justice actually has two teams of lawyers, and so those who are handling the petition are different from this particular.
Yeah, this particular. I'm talking about engaging the service of
the former Attorney General.
The former Attorney General, who himself has a lot of issues coming up against him. So I think that so far I don't know those who are advising the embattled Chief Justice, but I think her actions have not been helpful. It looks as if there's an unholy alliance between the embattled Chief Justice and the New Patriotic Party, which is playing out in the whole issue, which is also not good for the Chief Justice. Because if you look at the whole issue, let's go back. How Reason Asafo, for example, got to know that the Chief Justice had not been served. I mean, it wasn't a good spectacle. How the Chief Justice letter requesting for a copy of the petition, how the letter got to the public domain before it got to the president, also wasn't good. And look at the recent demonstration, MPP demonstration, and all the things that are happening. Clearly, we have turned this normal constitutional process into a political kind of a game. MPP wants to protect its own. Some are also arguing, as you rightly pointed out, that if you consider the lawyers of the petitioners, you could see it's like NDC is also playing its role to make sure that she's also out. But I believe that when all is said and done, if the Chief Justice has a good case, I mean, if she has a good defense, solid defense, I believe she should be able to go and face the committee and battle it out with the committee. If indeed she has nothing untoward.
You mean on her own?
No, I'm talking about through the lawyers, of course. She's not representing herself. She's being represented by lawyers. I'm saying that she should be able to, through her lawyers, I mean, face the committee if she has solid defense. On the other hand, if she doesn't have solid defense and she thinks the scales are up against her, I mean, she should resign. I have said that if I were her, I would resign. Because to what end does she want to play this game? I believe even the recent, action taken by her, that is a petition, is a calculated move to, if you like, delay or obstruct the process. I mean, it wouldn't truncate the process. Let's be honest, it wouldn't truncate the process. It will only delay or obstruct the process for a while. So, I don't think she's been playing the game properly. I mean, I don't know, as I said, I don't know those who are advising her. But you see, on the issue of Adente Kumi, I have said it when I heard him. You see, for some time, I've been following him since he left the movement for change and went back to MPP. They are using him to do all manner of things. Wild allegations. First, he made some wild allegations against Okujetua Blakwa on one, if you permit me, on Paul Adumochi's show.
I think I saw that about some ownership of property.
Yes, I mean
outside the country.
He's allowed himself to be used to do some, if you like, some political stuff for the MPP, and which for me is quite unfortunate because as a young man, you need to be very smart when it comes to politics. You don't allow yourself to be used in this manner because the allegations is made. Now you'll be asked to prove if you have made these wild allegations against Supreme Court judges. And you see, these allegations, he wrote them. These are printed allegations. And so you will be asked to provide evidence for each allegations you've made. And I saw a tweet, he made reference to that tweet, that he said, there's more. And it's like, it was more or less, he was threatening the system. And I said, who is advising this young man? Because the videos that have come out so far, don't speak to the allegations that you made. I
mean, he said he didn't put out those videos. He said that. But how do you situate your analysis in the context of the fact that he didn't put the allegation just in the public domain? He's actually written to the presidency to say that, I want you to investigate this. And he's publicly said that if you want me to come and assist with any investigations, I'm willing to do that. And in the morning, do we have to send national security operatives to pick him up in this manner? A very familiar story for watchers of the political space.
No, but you see, but the question is, how do you want them to you know, do you want them to write a letter, a lively letter, to invite him to come and talk about these things? If you made some of these wild allegations, this issue borders on national security. Let me tell you, I mean, we are dealing with a very sensitive issue, the removal of Chief Justice. If those who are managing this issue, very sensitive issue, are being accused of doing something they've never done, certainly it borders on national security. And for me, I don't see anything wrong with the way, I don't know whether they were in mask or something. That is
his claim.
As a false claim. But whatever be the case, he himself, he knew he was going to be invited because he's made a wild allegation. And I believe he's prepared. If indeed, if it will be good for this country if he's able to prove that whatever he has said or whatever allegation he made in the petition is true. And that would be good for the country so that we will know how to streamline our justice delivery system. But if those allegations were mere allegations without any evidence to back them, then he's got a lot of issues to deal with. Because I think he should not be left to go scot-free if it turns out that the allegations he's made cannot be proven.
Let me come to Senior now. And Mr. Jantua, where do you stand on this arrest? I mean, I can imagine it's a very familiar story. I mean, even from where I sit, I can remember many of such instances. And there are those who will say that it is a way that political actors gain popularity. And over the years, governments play into their hands in that manner. Do we have to pick him up in this manner?
Good morning to our viewers. Good morning to my fellow panelists. So, your question is a two-tier question.
Yeah.
Look, I hope and I pray that this does not become a political football. I hope and I pray that the gentleman, who is a good friend of mine, I know him, he's been on this platform.
I know him from my Legon days.
Yes, several times. I've been on this platform with him and other platforms with him during the election time. So I know him. I didn't know it was him. When I saw it this morning, the first question I asked myself was, what's wrong with this young man? First question I asked myself. But I hope that this doesn't become a political football. Because at the moment, we don't know whether the MPP is behind it. Yes, he went to my good brother's party, then he left and went back to the MPP. And I hope nobody is going to point a finger at the MPP if they are not part and parcel of it. However, their actions will prove how they handle this particular situation, will prove whether they are part of it or they aren't part of it. With regards to how he was arrested, who am I? Who am I? The national security have their way of arresting people. No be so. Is it the right way to do it? Is it the right way to go in and go with guns and masks and all that kind of stuff? There is a process with which you arrest people. There's a process. Did they have some intelligence that the man had guns stacked in his house? And that if you go there and you don't arm yourself, he can use those weapons to do something, untoward? I don't know. I think it's up to the media to find out from the security service why they arrest people the way they arrest people, the format in which they arrest people. Maybe the media should go and find out. But let me ask the question. This particular petition, who brought it? Was it the NDC? Was it the NDC who sent the petition to the president? Was it handled by the NDC? Is it an NDC petition? You tell me.
I mean, from the names we have,
from what we know,
there's a businessman. Then
from what we know,
group.
they are citizens of Ghana. Now, once that petition gets to the president, what is he supposed to do? Is there not a process that he needs to follow? Question: has he followed that process? Answer: yes. Would everybody agree with me that the process has been followed? Goes to the Council of State. Council of State give there. He sets a committee up. Committee has been set up. Has he done anything ultra-vires to the process in Article 146? I don't think so. Now, with my good friend, the Chief Justice, she's a good friend, I would have thought that her interlocutory injunction would not have been directed to the Supreme Court, but would have been directed back to the president. Who suspended her?
The president.
The president. The committee that has been set up is enshrined in law. So in terms of what she is trying to do in stopping them from acting, is she not going against the Constitution? Does the Constitution not mandate that the president should have a committee? It does. So if she's trying to stop it, is she not going against the Constitution? Number two, the reason why I say that her petition should have been directed at the president is because the president suspended her according to the tenets of the Constitution. When you go to 146(11), it says, and I quote, "The president may at any time revoke a suspension under this article." Does the president not have the power to revoke a suspension? And if he has the power to revoke a suspension, should she not have directed it to him? Because it doesn't say in here what the president would do to revoke a suspension. It doesn't say it goes back to the Council of State. It doesn't say he needs to get advice from his lawyers. That particular mandate is specific to the president. And the president can get that petition, go through with it, and probably consult his lawyers with regards to it. And then, that word may, he can decide, based on the content of her application, decide to suspend or revoke the suspension. This entire hullabaloo is bringing political actors into the case. That doesn't help. Doesn't help anybody. And I go by what my good friend said. If the Chief Justice has solid evidence to defend herself, she should go through it. She should go through it. Face it. Defend yourself. Defend yourself 100% because you know your defense is strong. If it so happens that you defend yourself and you are vindicated, nobody, no political party can say, we are sacking you. Does that not strengthen the position of the CJ? It does. The challenge, if it goes through that process and she's vindicated, is that how then does she act with her fellow judges who have been appointed to hear this case? That's where her challenge would be. But I strongly believe that if she has a good case, nobody can do anything ultra, not even the president can do anything ultra-virus to it. Now, let me ask the question, and maybe you'll be able to tell me. The video that we've seen and the individuals that are in there, are those the people we are describing them to be? Is that what it is? Or there are some people who have been used to mimic Kulendi and all the other judges? I don't know. Number two, how did the person, is it Kumi, how did he know that these judges were meeting at that restaurant? How did they know? Who took that video of the judges sitting there? How was that possible? Or it is something they want to create some kind of nuisance around to make it political. I think we should cut the political cobwebs around this case, because we have created, and when I say we, those actors, the political actors around, have created this scenario to muddy the waters. It should be cut, and we should not encourage it. If it so happens, because whatever the case is going to go on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Chief Justice case is going to go on. The facts are going to be laid bare. Those who are sitting on it, I believe, would do the right thing by the evidence before them. And if it so happens that the Chief Justice is found guilty, so be it. If it so happens that the Chief Justice is found innocent, so be it. Life goes on from there.
All right. Let me come to Prof now. And Prof, I want you to start first from the gentleman who has been picked up.
Thank you very much, and I will follow protocol by saying that greetings to my fellow panelists, Ebo and Kwame, and then to our cherished listeners. It's going to be business as usual with the NIB, and then they will say free Kumi. So we are going to see demonstrations of free Kumi. I am surprised about the trend. If you look at the trend, it's very simple. Individuals behind who is tweeting this about the same person, is it not coming from one political party? So from leadership perspective, you see, anytime there's a government, there's somebody who comes in to define your administration. And I pray that this woman issue does not define His Excellency John Dramani Mahamad's administration. If you look at what Buzia did, if you look at what Nkrumah did, if you look at what Liman did, if you look at what Rawlings did, if you look at what John Mills did, there is always something that people use to define them. And you don't want, they did many things, but people will point out to only one thing as if that defined the administration. And that is exactly what is happening here that we should guard against. I think that the Chief Justice don't want to win, but she wants to cause damage. Clearly.
Why do you say that?
She wants to cause damage because she's not going to win this. There's no way she's going to win, but she wants to cause damage. Let me tell you how this works. The Constitution that you see, when they talk about the spirit and the letter is what is reading. But the spirit is the wisdom behind what, the individual sat and wrote about it. The wisdom here is that, I want to test the robustness of the law and see where it gets to. So there are no winners in this situation because the president has never erred in the process. He's going through everything that the Constitution mandates him to say. Now, when lawyers talk about may, there's a difference between may and shall, right?
Yes, one is mandatory.
One is mandatory, shall is mandatory. May means you are supposed to use the discretionary powers.
Yes.
And the person that is going through the process, you are fighting him. I agree with Vebo that if I was her, I would have resigned. But Ghana is not a place that people resign. I remember talking to a man, he said he went to a company, they were doing something unethical, and he said that, look, I'm going to resign. And then the CEO at that time asked him, are you a Ghanaian? And then he said, yes, I'm a Ghanaian. I said, and you are going to resign? Because Ghanaians don't resign. If you see a toxic environment and what is going on there, I think that the best thing for you is to recuse yourself. But if you look at the stand that the suspended Chief Justice have taken about quasi-body that was said was illegal, you see the 16 points, the quasi-body talking about the interlocutory injunction, you are suspended and you are putting in injunctions and other things. And the kind of lawyer she picked, it shows the path that she's going. But let me give a leadership advice that I would have given to President Mahama in private. When Kufuor came in the 2000s, and his brother was the Minister of Defense, there were some generals who Kufuor had to deal with. But you don't ask generals to leave just like that and walk on the street of Mamobi and Choko and other places. So they were given positions. You go to Egypt as ambassador. You go to this place as this. That is how you settle them. What I would advise President Mahama to do is to call President Kufuor, call Nanado and say, hey, talk to your girl. I'm saying this with all the emphasis. Talk to your girl. There are Hague positions, there are UNDP, because Hanatete is now leading a UN position in Libya. There are positions that we can have for her. Yeah, we will settle that amicably, because Obia Kasacha and Ferrefua Utie. When you talk to somebody that
You're shy of.
Okay.
If I know, you're shy of the person.
Okay. So the person, because you are shy of the person, you talk through the person, others will listen. So he should call Nanado, call President Kufuor and say, talk to your girl. We'll give her something, so that this issue rests, because we have many important issues to take care of. If you look at the plethora of challenges we have in our country and the way other countries are developed, and we need to double ourselves, this issue, again, I state, that should not define President Mahama's administration. There are many important issues to go about, and it's because the woman wants to cause damage, but she don't want to win. The same thing Alan did. He knew he wasn't going to win, but he knew he was going to cause damage.
I'm sure everybody didn't hear that.
He heard that. but that happens a lot. There are some things worse, you're not going to win. I mean, but you cause some damage.
There are those who make the argument that sometimes when people don't have confidence in the process that is ongoing.
But let me make a point quickly. Alan didn't leave MPP to cause a damage. He left MPP to contest an election to win. Unfortunately, he didn't win. But the intention was not to cause. Because MPP
I'm saying that is the story behind it.
The MPP had already damaged itself.
I'm still on the floor. You allowed the boat to speak.
He just wanted to make an interjection. I think you've made your point.
That's an interlocutory injunction.
MPP had already damaged itself with the kind of candidate they had.
Yes.
Okay.
So it wasn't Alan who damaged the MPP.
That's fine.
I'm using a conceptual framework.
Let me bring you back where I want you to stay at. I don't want you to. Don't get into conflict with the boy. The question is that, there are those who make the point that when you don't believe you are going to get a fair deal,
yes.
So it basically now becomes a knife fight of sorts.
Yes.
I mean, we are supposed to fight with our hands,
yes.
but I feel that you have something hidden somewhere. So it becomes a knife fight, and perhaps that is why she's going all out now. Because if she was satisfied and had confidence, I mean, one would say that why? Well,
we've all established the basis that the president have never erred in any of the process. Now, she also can't stop the process by telling us who should be empaneled to sit on the case, because that's not what the Constitution says.
Okay.
So whatever she's saying, then that's why I'm saying that she just wants to test the robustness of our Constitution, but she knows she's not going to win. And I don't want this to define this administration, because there are more pressing and priority issues that we should concentrate on. That is my point. But talking about Kumi, it's not going to end anywhere. And I think that I agree with Ebo that, politicians will want to use some individuals to achieve their goals. I stated last week that there's a now slogan that touch one, touch all. If somebody has gone to embezzle money and the person is caught and he's saying that now touch one, touch all, when you took the money, did he call you?
Doc, are you saying the MPP is behind this?
No. I'm just saying that when you see politicians using slogans that you touch one, touch all, but then when there's an issue about that person and that borders on embezzlement, and he's saying that you touch me, you touch all, you're going to fight for that person. But ask yourself that question, that when that person had something from the party, was I involved? Because there were many people in the past administration who never had anything, not a job, not anything. All they had was a T-shirt and maybe some takeaway when they went for rallies. So let's begin to think for ourselves as Ghanaians that, look, the way we sit here, the youth are not happy. The grassroots are not happy. Why? Because there's poverty staring at people. Poverty staring at people. And I think that should be our priority. There's unemployment. We have our youth going. Our citizens are everywhere in the world. In my travels, I cry every day. Do you know the kind of media jobs Ghanaian Jews abroad? Some have degrees, master's degrees and PhDs. Because we can't create jobs for them here. That is what we should concentrate on. Jobs, jobs, jobs. This, whether somebody will go or not, the Constitution makes provision even for the president to be impeached if he goes wrong. So the president can go, the Chief Justice can go, the Speaker can go. That should not be an issue. Let's go through the process. But when the whole nation attention is geared towards one person, when 32 million, 34 million people have other priorities, I think that we are missing priorities here.
Are we saying that the MPP is behind this? Is that what we established?
It's clear.
Oh, no, it's so clear. I mean, you
It is
don't
clear.
have to. There's no gainsaying.
My difficulty in us...
Do we have the evidence?
My
You
difficulty...
have eyes, but you can't see.
I mean, Mr. Danso, my difficulty in us towing that line is, once you go that way, then the response they also give is that, well, look at the actors on the other side as well, and they say that, well, this is the form this whole discussion has taken.
But these are amateur pictures, amateur videos. How do you use that as evidence?
And that is what I'm trying to say. It shouldn't go down that line. If it so happens that the MPP is behind it, then it is a tragedy.
It is clear.
It's a tragedy.
Is it not trivial that before you do that quickly? When somebody uses amateur videos, it's just like polygraph test. You see, can you present that to the court as evidence? But do you think that these high-learned judges will go to a restaurant and just to talk about this when they have homes?
Yes.
Okay.
What kind of thinking is this?
Let me bring into the conversation Austin Bracco Powers. Kwabena Bracco Powers is a legal practitioner. Austin, good morning once again.
Yeah, good morning, Joe. Can you hear me?
Yes, and I want to stay with you on some legal issues. First, let's get this out of the way. What do you make of the latest information, the arrest of Alfred Kumi, the gentleman behind this particular petition?
Yeah, I think for me, speaking from where I sit, I cannot readily confirm if the information he channeled or he put out is false. And I'm not sure any of your panelists has been able to do that. Because you see,
you can also state it otherwise, that you can't confirm that it is true. I mean, the way you
exactly, you can't confirm.
you are
exactly,
stating it. Okay, yeah.
Exactly. So, you see, my challenge is that the discussion must be guarded. The thing is that we do not know the truth yet. I have seen a string of video footage making the rounds on social media. Well, the footage indicates some maybe short discussion and otherwise. But you see, we are not in a position to verify as to whether or not there was a meeting, and also to also say that what the guy put out there was a complete falsehood. But be that as it may, Joe, we all know that false information is a crime. In fact, it's a misdemeanor. It's a misdemeanor. When you channel false content, it's a misdemeanor. But is it the only time that we will get to know that it's false is when it is tested in court or the appropriate institutions effect the arrest. But you see, let's be mindful. I have been very, very particular about the kind of lifestyle that national security has been adopted. And this is not the first time. During Akufo-Addo's time, we also saw this Rambo-style arrest. You know, if you're arresting someone for channeling out false information, I mean, an alleged false information, because like I said, I can't readily confirm if it is false information until the court has declared otherwise, or until we have the full facts or documents relating to that. Two mere footage cannot in themselves rebut what has been said by the guy. And I can also not verify that what he said was the truth. But let's be mindful, the way national security has been parading along the street with arms and ammunition and trying to explain to people that, yes, they are in charge, it's worrying. Because you see, we are not in a dictatorship. This is a democracy. We criticized this star during Akufo-Addo's time. And it is important we do see during Mohammed's time. Because you see, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. And it is a way of protecting ourselves. So for me, my initial comment on this matter is that the president must rein in on national security. The way they parade arms and move about as if they own the country is not good for us. You see, it's not good for us. Because you see, chances are you may not know. One day they may be parading along the streets, and before you say jack, they may have fired 2 or 3 shots, hurting innocent citizens. And this is what we should be mindful of. Because you see, if you suspect someone to have channeled false content, the best way is to gently arrest the person. And one of your panelists did indicate that we don't have information as to whether the guy has firearms in his room, or the guy has a team of vigilante guys who are protecting him, by which reason the national security will say that we also want to apply force. in his arrest. We don't have this. We don't have the benefit of this information. So you see, let's be mindful. We are in a democracy. Mahama says it's a Democrat, and as a Democrat, you must be mindful of every detail of your leadership.
Okay.
Allowing national security to have their way around is not the best. So that is what I will say about Kumi's arrest. For me, the nature of his arrest, the Rambo star is not the best for our democracy. And Mahama must, must be able to rein in on them, because it's becoming it's becoming too many. Because you see, we saw such arrests previously. I think when Mahama took over, we saw a number of the Rambo star when they went to the former deputy education minister's residence, Dr. Fodjo's residence, and other things. It's not helping. They should go about their work in a decent manner. We are in a democracy. President Mahama has so far been on track. He should rein in on them, get them to operate by the books, not to operate according to what they feel, or just to incite or to put fear in anybody, because nobody is afraid of anybody.
Okay. I mean, Austin, I mean, what we can confirm as a fact is that he's been arrested. In terms of the manner of the arrest, I mean, those are matters that we cannot speak directly to. But yes, you correctly made reference to some of the past incidents that we have seen. I want to take you now to the issues surrounding the petition and the processes so far. I mean, the Chief Justice has, through her lawyers, filed processes where she's basically going after two of her former colleagues. And I mean, Prof in the studio here makes the point that it's basically more or less like pulling the structures down. I mean, those are very serious ways she's going about that. I want to first start off with, do you share the concerns by many about the choice of a lawyer? Just deal with that matter for me first, then we'll take on with the other matters.
Yeah, I think, Joseph, I have said this in different fora that if I were the Chief Justice, I would not have settled on Godfrey Dame. It's a bad choice. But you see, a party has an election to decide who to choose to represent him. And this is a basic principle. It's a basic rule. The party has to decide who to represent him. But you see, in a matter that is so politically contentious like this, I think the choice of lawyer by the Chief Justice is a no. If I were the Chief Justice, I would have chosen an independent or somebody who is not known politically in the country to represent him. Because you see, this matter, I have said that the MPP is pushing from a different one angle, and then this is also pushing from another angle. So you see, it is a political matter.
Does it matter the choice of lawyers the petitioners settled on as well? I mean, some would argue that, well, that turned it political, and in order to maybe perhaps get the best and also get some sort of support that some are already suggesting that she may be leaning on, just go for the former Attorney General. No,
you see, Joseph, the thing is that I have said that in court, her choice of lawyer has nothing to, will not derogate from whether she's going to be successful or not, or will not affect her chances. In court, no. But you see, the political communication and what you are putting in the minds of Ghanaians will be that, yes, the MPP is behind you. And this alone dampens, I want us to state the conversation. This is a political issue that has found itself in court. And you should know that our judges have to read the political tempo, the kind of work they do. You know, one of your panelists was alluding to the spirit of the Constitution. The political tempo is also part of the spirit of the Constitution. Political tempo, what the people are saying, what the people feel. You see, this is a political issue that has found itself in court. The choice of lawyer in court doesn't matter, but the choice of lawyer in the sight of Ghanaians matters. In the sight of Ghanaians matters. And I think that the Chief Justice did themselves wrong by doing that. Because you see, Godfrey Dame was the face of MPP's legal team and MPP's judicial. Let me say, I won't say MPP's judicial, I will say MPP's legal team, particularly MPP's at the Office of Attorney General. And he married himself, he did so many things. And in fact, he's a fine lawyer by all standards. But you see, this is somebody who has been consistently defended the judiciary during his tenure as an Attorney General. Allowing him to defend you indirectly communicates to Ghanaians that really the MPP is funneling or pushing back against the Chief Justice removal. Something I have been personally I'm against.
Okay.
The whole process.
Now, let's move to an issue that has cropped up, and the latest process that they have filed, the application that the CJ has filed through her lawyers, and there is an element where she's asking for a public probe of sorts. She wants the petition to be heard publicly. In fact, my information is to the effect that her lawyers, led by Edukusi, we are told, they are the ones handling the petition aspect. They had raised the matter at the committee level and it did not find favor with the committee, and so they've proceeded to put it in the application that they've made and ask for that she's entitled to that waiver. Your reading of Article 146, do you come to the same conclusion that this is something that she can waive, especially given the judicial pronouncement on that provision and the intention behind the provision as has been explained in some of the decisions, J. Chum versus Attorney General. Yeah. There's also the bit about Justice Utaderi versus Tiger IPI and the Attorney General as well.
Yeah, I think personally, from my independent reading of one, her writ, invoking the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, as well as the constitutional provision, as you rightly refer to, Article 146. The Constitution is clear that the process must be done in camera. It's clear. There is no election here. But you see, she is also citing Article 19, 13, and a string of other constitutional provisions to say that she has an election to decide whether it should be in camera or it should be held in public. But you see, I think the constitutional provision is clear on this. There is a principle when it comes to interpretation that in a provision where there are specific rules, or specific pronouncements to regarding a particular matter, and there are others regarding a general matter. The specific one rules, and I think when it comes to Article 146, it is specific when it has to do with removal of Justice of the Superior Court or the removal of the Chief Justice. And that is specific. The other provisions that she has cited, I think they are of general application. This is specific. And for me, I think that is a no. Because you see, what we should be guarding ourselves against is the attempts by people to open up the judiciary for abuse. And that is what we should be. Because you see, I have also said that already Parliament is less trusted. The executive, less trusted. Judiciary, we want to add a judiciary to this, that would be disastrous for this country. We must be mindful. Because you see, when the judiciary drops to the level of the executive and the legislature, that is the end of Ghana. Because you see, nobody will come in your defense.
Okay. And finally, Austin, before I come to my panelists in the studio, because you are talking about the perception the judiciary is creating. I mean, the Chief Justice is directly going after two of her former colleagues, saying that, Justice Gabriel Scott Pamine, who is chairing the committee, she says that he was on the Daniel Ofori cases as well, just like her. And so if that has formed the basis for a petition and has crossed the threshold for a prima facie determination and a probe is taking place, he should not be participating. He also points to Justice Samuel Kwame Siedu that, well, he was on a panel that was supposed to hear the injunction application. I mean, that some would say that it's more or less has muddied the waters entirely.
Yeah, I think, you see, my belief is that Joseph, can a sheep be declared innocent in a garden of wolves? The Chief Justice has taken a path of no return. You see, and this path means that she's not coming back. Because you see, when a judge makes a decision as part of a team or being a member of a team, they make a decision and you single that judge out. What you are trying to do is that you are personalizing the matter, because you see, any decision judges take, they take that decision in the name of the republic, the state. They don't take the decision in their own personal or in their personality as individuals. They take that decision in the name of the republic. So you see, singling them out is a no-no for me. And I've said that the path that the Chief Justice has taken is a path of no return. And it will be difficult looking at the pattern of the decision so far. And I've said that this matter has really engaged our Supreme Court, and it has opened up the Supreme Court to scrutiny. Many Ghanaians, non-lawyers and lawyers, both have the opportunity now to assess the empaneling of the judges, the decision so far, 3-2, 4-1, 4-1. I know she has an application before the court. Will it be 4-1 or 3-2? That we cannot tell. But I have said that she has embarked on a journey of no return. So it is do or die. Going for your colleagues, I think it's a no. And it worsens the whole situation for me.
Okay, I'll come back. I'll come back to you, Austin, for us to wrap up the conversation. But let me return to the studio, and I want to come to Mr. Jantua first, just to pick your thoughts on the issue of her request for a public process. I mean, the rules clearly seem to suggest that should not be allowed, but she's making the case that she wants it televised, or publicly, at least publicly.
Is she Chief Justice?
Well, currently she's been suspended.
What does that mean?
She's there. I mean, suspended Chief Justice.
She doesn't have a power of the Chief Justice. She doesn't have a power to question whoever is put on a committee. She doesn't have that power. She would have what? She would have chosen, if she was still Chief Justice, she would have chosen the panel. But she is not. And the one thing I don't understand is, why is my good friend going against the Constitution?
Yeah, that's the issue.
Why? So you go to 146 clause 8. What does that say? It says, all proceedings, and I quote, all proceedings under this article shall be held in camera. Shall be held in camera. And when you look at the way they've written camera, they've written it in italics, not in bold writing. That tells you something.
For emphasis.
In terms of how it is important for it to be held in camera. Why is she going against that? I don't understand that line of her thinking. And then, as I said before, it isn't the Supreme Court who suspended you. It was the president who suspended you. So if you have any beef, your beef should be with the president. And if you feel that you have been unfairly treated, you go back to the one who did what? Who suspended you. And the Constitution, 11 of the same article, states he has the power of revocation of your suspension. So I don't understand why my good friend is going down that route, meandering through that route. With regards to Godfrey Dame, if I were Godfrey Dame, and he's a disco boy, so sometimes I like to understand his thinking. If I were Godfrey Dame, I won't take the case. I will not take the case for anybody to link the MPP to it. Irrespective of whether my history shows I've been handling such cases, I will not take the case, even if the former Chief Justice pushed me into it and offered me millions of dollars. I will not take it, because the optics don't look good. You bring the executive into it. No, sorry, you bring politics into it. And this case should not be seen as politics. If it so happened that behind the scenes, yes, the argument can be made, and I don't see where that argument stands, that a lot of NDC operatives have said, hey, we are going to make sure the Chief Justice goes, wasn't the same thing said about Charlotte Osei? You put aside, the mechanics of it. Didn't we hear MPP people say Charlotte Osei will go? So for me, I don't look at that side.
Okay.
I look at whether the process has been followed. The Chief Justice, that position is no small position, that we toy with it. That office irrespective of whether you have been in it before or you are still in it, should be held sacrosanct. So that it is not the individual, but it is the office. So I expected the Chief Justice to see, the former Chief Justice, to see that office she sits at, just like the president. When you insult the president, you haven't insulted the president as a human being. You've insulted the office. And insulting the office, you've insulted the people of Ghana. It's just sad that we do not see that kind of mechanics in some of the things we do. I believe that if for nothing at all, the Chief Justice should decide, look, we all this thing you're talking about, let the process go through. If I'm found guilty, fair enough. If I'm found innocent, fair enough. We move on.
Okay.
Godfrey Odame, he should decide whether he wants his party to be part and parcel of it, because he has been the face of the MPP in Akufo-Addo's 8 years. He was Chief Justice. He
was Deputy Attorney General.
The first term, the second term he became Attorney General. Yeah. He's the face, and people will align it to it. I hoped and prayed that the minority leader would not have made the kind of pronouncements he made previously, that you touch one, you touch all. I would have hoped he didn't say that, because some of the issues are legal issues. They are not political issues. And he, as a lawyer, should have been able to realize that this is legal. Let's not put politics into it. But so be it. And you see, I end by saying, this should teach us not to politicize every Kojo, Kwame, and Ama in everything we do. Why we like doing that, it baffles my imagination. It baffles my imagination that everything we align politics. Is it that we don't trust each other? Is that the reason? Or is it that we are trying to score political points and make sure that...
And how many points have they got?
Well, and make sure that those... No. Make sure that those political points inure to us during elections. Do they inure to us during elections? They don't. Because one thing we forget is that the Ghanaian now has become very, very, very astute where politics is concerned, where voting is concerned. I hope and pray that the MPP should try building confidence back in the people. Because as at now, when you look at the quantum of votes they had and the way they were pushed out, they have a long way to go. And somebody would tell me that, Kwame Janto, stop talking about MPP and talk about your CPP. No, we haven't been in power for 30 years. You have been in power on and off in the last 4 years.
More than 30 years, since 66.
Well, since 66.
So what are you doing there?
79.
What are you doing
Okay, 79 years. Okay, yes.
You are still warming up.
Allied parties.
79.
You still warming up?
The
CPP is still warming up.
I'm genetically CPP. Can't do anything about it.
Okay.
Yes, I'm genetically CPP. I can't do anything about it. But the MPP have been in power on and off with the NDC.
Okay.
I have interest in there because whatever decision they took affected me.
Okay.
A lot of the things that we went through did not affect all of us.
Yeah.
So nobody should come and tell me that go and think of your CPP. This is also important.
Okay.
They are the largest opposition party today, and they should look at how best they can claw the defeat back and be relevant to Ghanaians.
Let me come to Prof. And Prof. Austin, Mr. Powers, the lawyer makes an interesting point about where this leaves us in terms of the judiciary. And we can look at the story from the angle of the fact that over the years, there were concerns about the justice administration system, whether they were fair. I mean, in times past, we even heard people throw around words like unanimous FC amongst others. I mean, all those things were put out. Those are public matters we can make reference to. We heard the former National Security Minister also talk about decisions of the courts and how it has the potential to affect national security. You have a Chief Justice who has been suspended, now also raise issues about the panel hearing the matter in relation to him. And Mr. Powers makes the point that if we are not careful, we are just going to walk away from this process, damaging the judiciary than it was even before this process took off.
Ghanaians remember me one day that I said here that some actions are supposed to cause damage but not to win. I repeat, look, the framers of even American Constitution thought that the three arms of government, the judiciary was the weakest, because you appoint 9 according to American Constitution, a maximum of 9, and out of the 9, convince 5, and then you have a decision. So you go to the first chamber, second chamber in America, something is rejected by Congress and the Senate, and then you take the same issue to the Supreme Court. Out of the 9, the next day Americans woke up and we have LGBT law passed. 5 out of 9. So it is the weakest of the 3. The framers of American Constitution knew this, because it's just a limited number. Convince part of them, get the highest, and you're done. You see? So if that Peter Tosh talk about, we all want freedom. Who doesn't want freedom? But before you can get freedom, we need equal rights and justice. God is a just God. So if we are somebody who is supposed to take care of justice, that means we all rely on you. But we've heard many stories of goats, of yams, and a whole lot of things that has happened in the judiciary, which should never be told in any history of Ghana about our judges and lawyers. We rely on you for justice. Now, William James said that the art of being wise is knowing when to overlook some things. And I think that there are a lot of things that we have overlooked. There are a lot of things that we are talking about. But if you tell the truth, it becomes part of your past. And if you tell lies, it becomes part of your future. Are we telling lies, or we are telling the truth? But I have this here that if you ask the wrong questions, consequently you get the wrong answers. And if you ask the right questions, you get the right answers. We have to begin to ask right questions about justice system. And we can't afford to go through that tangent that if trust is gone, because there's a lot of distrust in the system. There's a trust gap. You know, people have problems with their MPs. They say, oh, from Kwamon. When you call them, they don't pick it. You know, I'm told that even those who were sworn in as MCs just now, 2 days ago, when you call them now, they don't pick their calls. So we have a problem there. And then the executive too, people have problems.
Okay.
If you come to the judiciary, then we are doomed. So we should do everything. And the media will also have to help us in this process. Because most of the media are either bought, rented, or opinion press.
Or sold.
Or doing a fair job.
Exactly.
And excelling at being fair to all
fellows,
parties.
I have a problem when Kwame said that he's genetically CPP. You see, when somebody said that I'm genetically MPP, or I'm genetically...
Please, I talk for myself. I don't talk for any other person. I beg you.
But Aristotle said that it's the hallmark of an educated person to entertain a thought without accepting it. So I know we are all educated. Sometimes we can agree to disagree agreeably. When, you know, Trump was a Democrat?
Yes.
Do you know that this guy Reagan was a Democrat?
Yes.
And then he became a Republican. And then he said that I did not leave the Democratic Party, the party left me. But he became a president because his alignment of what his vision for America, he realized that this political party will not help him. So that kind of, I am genetically MPP, I'm genetically NDC, and somebody will tell me that, Prof, when it comes to voting...
I spoke for myself.
I haven't mentioned
I use that word.
Okay,
so leave it to me.
Okay.
Don't leave it
Can
to
I borrow it, please?
No, don't borrow it.
Okay. Tom says you can become MPP tomorrow. That's all.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that if you have the knowledge, the wherewithal knowledge to help a political party, don't sit down and say that because I don't belong to that party. Because I've heard a lot of things going on in the Ghanaian, social media space of fake neutrals. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Everywhere, fake neutrals. Who are fake neutrals? We have mavericks in politics, people who speak their mind and tell the truth. One of my mentors is John McCain. John McCain, is it McCain?
Yeah, McCain.
Who was Arizona. He was a maverick. And when he died, even library at Congress was built by Democrats in his name, even though he was a Republican. And I think that that's what we should learn. That if you have something to give to Ghanaians, don't say that because I'm genetically this or I'm genetically that. That will end me to our judiciary again, as my brother said.
I give
Please,
most of
I
my
borrowed
time to
it. I
Ghanaians.
borrowed it. So I think that the judiciary, we need to protect them.
Okay.
They are all that we have. But we also want justice to prevail. And I think that the tangent that we are going, we are wasting so much energy, I repeat that, on the judiciary issue that is going on when we have other pressing and priority issues that we should focus on.
I mean, there are those who blame you, the politicians. I mean, particularly your colleagues in the NPP and the NDC, that when you are in opposition, you take on the courts every now and then. When you come to government, then you defend And
the same with the Electoral Commission, right?
The same with the Electoral Commission, exactly. And they say that is what accounts for some of these things, because, I mean, ideally, and our history tells the story. I mean, with the exception of the tenure of the CPP, where Chief Justice was removed under circumstances that we are all familiar with. Mr. James, are you listening to what I'm saying?
I'm not familiar with it.
I mean, where a decision was rendered and the president removed the Chief Justice from office. It's never happened. I mean, even in the military era, they kept the Chief Justice there. Not to make the point that it's a bit weird what is happening, but to make the point about the importance of that arm of government.
The environments were different at the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the CPP refrain always. I mean, but genetically, the politicians, I mean, you have to keep politics away from the courts. And even when the petition started, I mean, we heard government officials publicly speak to the contents of the petition and justify why the Chief Justice ought to be removed. The same thing from the opposition elements as well. And once it becomes political, there's no limits to it. And that's what you guys are causing.
I think we need to blame the Constitution and cure the issue with the Constitution, because I don't believe that the president would have to appoint the Chief Justice.
Yes.
Because if a politician appoints the Chief Justice, then expect that the politician would disappoint the Chief Justice. That is the system you're operating. That is why when the Chief Justice, when they also assume office, you realize that they also play to the gallery of the appointer. That is the problem you have. So it behoves the Constitutional Review Committee to look at this particular issue and address it, so that in future the president will have nothing to do with the appointment of the Chief Justice and other independent constitutional bodies heads. If you're able to do that, it will go a long way to help. But as it stands now, because the whole appointment is political appointment, for example, but do you think if not for political appointment, Madam Tokono would have been Chief Justice?
No.
Considering, and I'm told you lawyers, you believe in seniority, right? Yes, so considering those who were there before her.
Born in 2008.
It's purely political
was 2015, before this woman came in 2019.
It's political appointment.
I mean, those who disagree with you will say that when Chief Justice Wood was appointed as well.
I'm saying, but what I'm saying is that I get the point I'm making. That it's because it's political appointment.
Okay.
It's not because it's not normally done on the basis of merit. It's political appointment. Okay. So until we cure that clause or what a provision in the Constitution, some of these things are going to continue to recur. But it's political. Let's ask the lawyer said. I mean, this is, if you remember, from day one, when this issue came up, my first comment on this is political issue. Let's not pretend that this is a legal issue. It's a political issue. And all the two political parties are playing it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, MPP doesn't have the strength to withstand the strength of NDC in this matter. That's why I'm saying that the actions being taken by the Chief Justice will only delay the process. It cannot truncate the process. So that's why I want to insist, I want to also repeat that if I were here, I will resign to save this country from this kind of political machinations, spectacles that are not,
spectacle is a big word.
that don't look good at all. So I, for example, Mr. Jantua wanted to find out if MPP is behind this. Let me tell you, Gofredami represents the presence of MPP in this matter, whether you like it or not. I mean, this is MPP issue. MPP, they've taken it, they've organized demonstration in support of the woman, they've provided the woman with a lawyer. And you see, unfortunately, I don't know the kind of advice. You see, there's this Akan adage. What is a car candidate at a chema? That is to wait.
Yeah.
If your car gets stuck in the mud.
Dr. Powerboy said it.
Yes. Anyone can claim to teach you how to drive.
Doesn't even know how to drive.
Yes. And that is exactly. So I don't know those who are advising the team to the extent that she's attempting to overturn a constitutionally, sanctioned action. Like this issue has to be done in camera. She's now saying that no. Let's overturn that provision and do it in public. Chief Justice. I mean, this is serious.
She said she can waive it. She said she can waive it.
You see, to the extent that if you look at all the things they are doing, it's like we are rather forcing the president to do something in breach of the Constitution.
Bend the rules for her in her favor.
That's surprising that the Chief Justice and his team are fighting the president for operating within the bounds of the Constitution, now forcing him to go outside the bounds of the Constitution.
And that is ultra-virus.
That's amazing.
Okay.
All this is happening because the issue is a political issue laced with, some legal, one or two illegal. As the lawyer said, this is political issue that has found itself in the court.
Okay.
And so let the process be allowed to, travel to its logical conclusion.
What is the political issue? What is in the Constitution is not a political issue. The Constitution gives a process, and that process has been followed. What's the political issue there?
Listen,
not unless we have made it a political issue.
The point I'm making is that the president has not done anything wrong insofar as this issue is concerned.
Everybody knows that.
So define a political issue. Because it's not a political issue.
They are playing. The appointment itself was political.
Even the video footage here is political.
Political. Everything happening is political. Let's not deceive ourselves.
December. Just at the end of the 31st December case says that the entire Constitution is a political document.
It's a political issue.
It's a political document.
Let's not pretend.
Let me wrap up with Mr. Powers.
That there are parts of it that are specific to the judiciary.
Yes, they are. Let me wrap up with Mr. Powers on Zoom. And Austin, I just want to run you through something that has been happening and how it relates to the process. So far, at least there was an action that was filed at the Supreme Court by Vincent Assefoa. He had said that the failure of the president to first forward the petitions to the Chief Justice for a response before consultation with the Council of State was unconstitutional. A case was also filed by Ebenezer Osei-Owusu, raising the same issue once again. Then there's another one by Center for Citizenship, Constitutional and Electoral Systems, also saying that the failure of the president to supply the Chief Justice with a copy of the prima facie determination was also unconstitutional. Another matter was also filed by Theodore Kofi Atta Korti, also saying that the failure of the president to publish regulations to guide the exercise of discretion in the determination of the prima facie issue, the 296 arguments, was also raised as well at the Supreme Court, with the latest being the one filed by the Chief Justice, the suspended Chief Justice herself, her ladyship Justice Gertrude Tokon, also raising issues about two of the judges on the case and also asking that she should be allowed to waive the in-camera proceedings. I mean, you are a lawyer. For those who are non-lawyers, they would look at this and say that there is a concerted effort all around the place to frustrate the process. I don't know how you process that particular concern if it's raised.
Yeah, I think it's not. I mean, ordinarily, if it is filled by ordinary Ghanaians, it's pardonable, but not lawyers. For us, we see it as a part of our democratic process, because you see, it is not in the place of only one person to say that what is being done is the right process. I have said it, that the president has at all times done what the Constitution has asked him to do. There's nothing wrong with that. But my caveat had always been that when politics takes a center stage, there is only one certainty. There will be one winner and many losers. That is what we are witnessing. And in the end, you will see the wisdom of what I'm saying. That there will be only one winner, many losers. The various actions that you have cited, Joseph, I think they are good for our democratic process. Because you see, we need to challenge the process and we need to strengthen the process. If you read our president so far, you will notice that from 1992 to date, the New Patriotic Party has been instrumental in testing the Constitution, the strength of our Constitution. And through their efforts and mitigations, we've been able to plot certain loopholes. Because even the whole of Article 146, at the time, there was a loophole as to whether or not the president has to make a prima facie determination when it comes to the Chief Justice. There was no clear pronunciation in the Constitution. It took the Supreme Court to read into the Constitution that though in the though in the case of a justice of the Supreme Court, the Constitution was categorical. In the case of the Chief Justice, the Constitution didn't say that. In the J2 case, as you did mention earlier, the Supreme Court had to read that into the Constitution, thereby now compelling the President to make a prima facie determination. So the whole actions, I am interested in what is going on in court. It tells us one thing. We are testing the power of our judiciary, and we are strengthening our Constitution. Because you see, the Constitution was drafted by market women, yes, lawyers, judges, politicians, and you see, they may not be clever and to see everything. So we need to help the Constitution, like Ajay said. The Constitution is a living organism. So whilst the society progresses, the Constitution must also follow suit. So I see the action. For me, I think it is no for people to say that they are frustrating the system. They are not. And you see, one of your panelists said, oh, the president has urgent matters. I don't think this single matter should frustrate the president. This should not occupy the president day and night. The president has serious matters. He should concentrate. He has an attorney general whose duty it is to defend and represent the government. The job of the attorney general is to do that. Leave that to the determination of the attorney general and concentrate on delivering the public goods to Ghanaians. There's nothing wrong with the action so far before the court. What will be curious is the outcome of the decision so far as to whether the judges would appeal the arguments made by the applicants or not. For me, I think it's good for our democracy, and we should allow the process to flow. Let's not impede the process. Let's not read any untoward meaning into the process. Let's allow the people to test the strength of our democracy and to test the strength of our judiciary. Because you see, it is the judiciary being tested today. Because as you said earlier, some few months past or some years away, the judiciary was termed a unanimous FC. That any decision, any action before them, they always clear those actions in favor of the then government. Now we've seen sort of a clear departure. We see 3-2, we see 4-1, we see 4-1. And it looks like many people are satisfied with the nature, the outcome, the current outcome of the decision so far determined by the Supreme Court. Is it going to be sustained? Does it mean that the Supreme Court is independent today as compared to yesterday? I mean, there's many other questions that we need to ask ourselves. But for me, it's good for our democracy. Let's allow the system to flow. Joseph.
Thank you very much, Austin, for joining us this morning. Austin Kwabena Brako-Powers is a legal practitioner. Used to be a former colleague as well, and I know him from the Legon days as well, a vibrant student leader. I was saving the introduction for after the discussion. Austin, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
My guests in the studio have been Ebo Bachman, Movement of Change.
Movement for Change.
Movement for Change, yes, Movement for Change. And Kwame Jantua, whose political party has the record of the only party under whose tenure a Chief Justice was removed from office. Let me be quick to add that the circumstances he says were different.
The genetic man.
The genetic man. Genetically CPP, yeah. And Professor Enoch Opoku-Ntwi is a governance and policy analyst as well. I just want to leave us with, Austin was making reference to Sowe's famous quote here. He says, the Constitution has its spirit. It says, it is the fountainhead for the authority with which each of the three arms of government possesses and exercises. It is a source of strength. It's a source of power. The executive, the legislature, and the judiciary are created by the Constitution. I think it's a very important case that everyone should take a look at some of the principles from that particular case. But that is our discussion this morning. There's a lot more on the show, including some cash awards that Cash Money Cookie Tea will be talking about. Stay tuned in.
Every day, people have money emergencies. Ma, I need my school fees emergency. Mommy, chop money emergency. Emergency. Catch it. I get rent emergency. Now, there's a new emergency number in town. Dial star 770 hash for all your money emergencies and chop life.
Dial star 770 hash for money emergencies and get easy and quick access to your money, loans, and other banking needs. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
We asked the children, how many of you brushed this morning? And this little boy, his hand didn't go up. And I said, well, why didn't you brush this morning? He said, my brother was using the toothbrush. If I'd waited for him, I would have been late for school. I'm sorry, I get a bit emotional when it comes to that. To be able to change